What's up, Sports Trigger fans? We're back here with our college weekend picks. Just college football still. Eventually we'll transition into college basketball. Travis, are you ready?
Football, football, football.
Welcome back, everyone. Travis, our normal college football picks during the week for the weekend. Let's go and get started here. I'm going to throw a game out here that you might be surprised that I throw out here that I'm in which way I go. But Central Florida, so UCF versus Temple at Temple this weekend. UCF 14 points favorite here. That's the spread right now. I am going to go Temple plus 14.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and what's your reasoning behind that?
You know, first of all, the last team that I picked to go and beat Temple at Temple got beat. So there's that part of it. And Temple's been playing decent. I feel like this might be a trap game for UCF. They have this game and then USF next week. Which everybody's actually looking forward to over Thanksgiving, that Friday. And UCF's been they haven't been amazing the last few weeks. There's been I don't know, there's something about them where I feel like they could have another close game here against Temple, especially before USF, and it's at Temple. So yeah, I'm gonna go plus 14 here on Temple.
Okay. Geez, that's tough. It is at Temple. Temple's been better recently. Obviously, I don't know if we picked that Navy Temple game or not, but I remember I was on Team Navy and Temple ended up blowing the doors off of Navy that game. So, you know what? I'm going to stick with UCF. You've been a big proponent of them. Yeah. Me, not so much. Not that I have anything against Scott Frost. He's a great coach, but I'm going to go with UCF I'm going to take the line with UCF. I'm going to stick with them and them scoring and maybe make a little statement beating Temple, because I believe last week their game actually ended up being closer than expected against UConn. So, you know, I think they need, I mean, it's not a great team, but Temple's definitely on the rise from what they were at the beginning of the season. So I will take UCF in that one.
Yeah. I mean, I want to, but I just have this gut feeling, so I'm going to stick with my gut. Next one here, Texas and West Virginia at West Virginia. Both you and I have stayed away from a lot of West Virginia games this year just because they're so up and down, so impossible to read. Well, you have Texas at home. You're a 3.5 point favorite. Texas has obviously been playing better. Well, who do you got here?
Texas has definitely been playing better. Their defense is really, picked it up ever since the very beginning of the season. But I'm going to go with West Virginia. I really like Will Grier. Their defense isn't the greatest, but they're okay. And, just solely because I like Will Grier, their offense, I will take West Virginia actually to cover in that one.
Yeah, actually, I like West Virginia by 10 or more. It's tough to play in West Virginia. Okie State had a close game with them. A lot of teams have gone there and had their struggles with West Virginia. And West Virginia is good. So they can score, and they can score better than Texas, I think, right now. Texas offense, for whatever reason, still kind of up and down. So I'm going to go with West Virginia as well. I like them by 10 plus there. What are some games that you were looking at?
I have one, and it's with Georgia, who was obviously just embarrassed by your preseason national title pick in Auburn, and it's Kentucky at Georgia. Right now, Georgia is 21.5 point favorites, and you know what? I hate to say this, and it's really hard for me to say. Well, I guess I do get 21 points on it, but I'm going to take the Kentucky on the line here. I think,
plus
they played better this year, and, I fully expect Georgia to win, but I think Kentucky could be catching Georgia at the right time to where they could at least keep it less than 21 points.
Gosh, that's a tough line. I've bet on Kentucky earlier in the year, and I was like, this is the year Kentucky kind of turns around. And they have a good record. What are they? 6-3, I think. 6-3 or 7-3. 7-3. So yeah, pretty good. But they just haven't done it against good talent or a good team. So, I'm going to take Georgia here and the 21.5 points. I think they're going to come out on a vengeance.
Okay.
Almost Ohio State-esque of when Ohio State got thumped by Iowa, they came back and put a hurt on the next team. I think Georgia's going to do that this week as well. 21.5 is I usually don't bet a lot, with that big of a line, just because there's so much that can happen. And obviously there's bigger ones out there like Oklahoma over Kansas by 37 points right now. But yeah, I'm going to go Georgia, but
okay.
I think they're going to cover. So I'll just throw that out there.
All right. Yeah, and then my next one, it is that many points, like you said, it's especially, that's like any Alabama game this year for the most part, how big of favorites they are, and yet they still cover when they're 28 points, plus favorites. But, I have another one. It's a little bit off the beaten path, but Air Force at Boise State.
Oh, okay.
And Boise State's ranked 25th. They snuck in at the rankings. Air Force is only 4-6. Boise's 8-2, so they picked it up after starting a little slow this year, and they're favored, being Boise State at home, by 17.5. And I am all over that. I love Air Force at 17.5. You know what? Actually, I'm going to pick Air Force to win that one. I think Air Force can win that one. I know it's at Boise State. I know they have that blue turf, but you know what? Air Force, they can run the ball. Great offense. I'm gonna, that's my upset of the week is Air Force.
I could see this go. I wouldn't take Boise State to cover because Boise State's been another team that, they keep winning, right? So, that's what Boise State does, is they win. But they haven't really been that impressive to me this year. So I'm gonna go, Air Force with the 17.5 points. I think, that's something that I gotta stick with there too. So, okay. That's another good game that you pulled out there. I wasn't really thinking about that one, but, that's a good one to throw out there. I do have one more game.
What do you got?
And this might spray, I guess, another big line game. Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma State by 20.
Wow. Oh.
Gosh.
Tough.
I like Oklahoma State to cover that.
Wow. Okay. That's tough. It's at Oklahoma State, right?
Yep.
20.5. Geez. Oklahoma State just beat Iowa State. Kansas State just lost to West Virginia. I would have to go opposite on that just because Kansas State played West Virginia tough. They only held them to 28 points. Granted, that was at K-State. Yeah, I would have to go K-State on that. So what's your thoughts behind that as far as why you would take Okie State with the line?
Okie State's offense has been on a tear, obviously, right. And K-State's had trouble scoring this year. Except for against Oklahoma. They did put up points against Oklahoma. So
that's any team. Any team can score in Oklahoma this year.
So that does kind of, but Oklahoma State's at home. It's kind of like one of their, I don't know if this is their last home game or if they have one more or two more after this, but I feel like it's, Okie State's last game at home. They want to go out big. Kansas State's, they've been up and down. They've had a disappointing season by their standards. I think Oklahoma State's going to create a few turnovers, which is, I guess, truly uncharacteristic of K-State. So, when I really break this down, 20 points is tough against K-State because they run the ball, they can take some clock off. But, this is a gut feel here. This is a gut feel at home. Okie State's wanting to go out on fire this year. and so they're going to easily cover the 20. I 24-27.
Yeah, I mean, it is fair just for the fact that Okie State wants to make it to the Big 12 championship game still. I believe they just need TCU to lose one more game in order for that to happen, but that's fair. I love Bill Snyder. I'm going to go with the Fighting Bill Snyders on this one as far as covering it. As you stated, they do run the ball really well and, chew up that clock. I'm not exactly sure the status of their starting QB, who's Mr. Do-It-All. As normal, they usually have a dual threat QB who can run and pass, so I gotta stick with Kansas State on that one.
Yeah, so let's, I just wanted to take a quick look here, and, cause they're a really hard team to blow out.
Yeah.
I mean, their worst loss of the year came against TCU, and it was by 20.
That's right there then. I bet Vegas odds makers took that they take everything into account, but especially looking at that, that's tough. That's right there on the line.
Yeah, so I mean that's interesting. Yeah, it makes sense. And Oklahoma State does have one more home game. It's against Kansas next week, but big whoop. So this is they get to play the whole state of Kansas the last 2 weeks. So that's interesting.
All right. Licking their chops.
Yeah, I got to go with them. And I think they're trying to make a statement these last few weeks because who knows, maybe on the very outside chance they could slip into the playoffs. So they got to win big. And,
right.
So yeah, we'll see what happens there, but yeah, I'm finally putting some faith into Okie State. So, and to be honest, if they would have beaten Oklahoma, they'd be sitting where Oklahoma is pretty much in that top 6 spot for the playoffs right now.
Easily, if they knew how to tackle and or cover wide receiver running by them, then they would definitely be there at that spot.
Yeah, That's true, and Oklahoma doesn't do that and still somehow wins, probably just because they have a guy named Baker Mayfield in the backfield. So, with that being said, guys, thanks a lot for joining us on another Weekend Pick episode, and until next time.